You've survived. We have one little bit left to section 6.5, and they're mixture problems. And again, these can be solved using elimination or substitution. I'll play around with both depending on how you like to solve them. This first box is just letting you know that, for example, if you have a mixture that is 20% acid, then the remaining amount, then there must be 80% of some other substance or water. Like water, right? So this is what they're saying. So if you have like a 30% solution of acid, then 100 minus 30, or 70%, of the rest of the solution has to be some other substance. All right, so with mixture problems, it's the same kind of concept where you're going to talk about the total amount of, in this case, acidity, and a total amount of liquid, or a total amount of, or whatever, if it's quarts or liters. So let's read the question. So a chemist needs 5 quarts of a 17% acid solution, right? So say we're in a chem lab and your teacher says, hey, you guys have to, for this lab, you need to make 5 quarts of a 17% acid solution, but your teacher only has a 15% acid solution, like a big bucket that's 15% acidity, and then another big bucket of 25% acidity. And so your teacher says, all right, mix these two together to make a 17% acidity solution. So you need to know how many quarts you're going to scoop out of each and stir together to make it 17%. So there's our unknowns right there. So let's let X equal the amount of 15% acid solution, right, that we're going to mix with Y, and that's the amount in quarts of the 25% solution. So we're going to take a scoop out of each of these buckets and stir them together and get 17%. All right, so you need a totals. So they told us we need a total of 5 quarts. So we have a certain amount of the 15% acid solution and a certain amount of the Y. And when we add those together, when we add these 2 scoops together, that's supposed to give us 5 quarts. So that's our totals. All right, the next totals is the total acidity. So we want, so here, this is our total amount. And then we want a total acid equation. So our goal is to have 17% of 5 quarts. So 5 quarts, 17% should be acid. So how much acid are we getting from these other solutions? Well, from the X amount, 15% of that is going to be acid. And for the Y scoop, 25% of that is going to be acid. So let's get rid of those decimals, or I'm sorry, let's get rid of the percentages. Let's get them into a decimal so we don't have to worry about these percent symbols. So to drop the percent and write it as a decimal, you get rid of the percent and shift the decimal 2 places to the left. So 15% is 0.15 X, and 25% is 0.25 Y. And let's just calculate that. What's 17% of 17% times 5? It's 0.85. If you don't have a percent symbol, you just do 0.17 times 5 on your calculator, okay? So we're going to have 0.85 technically quarts of acid out of the 5 quarts. All right, so let's just go ahead and let's do substitution first. All right, so these are my two equations. I'm going to write it over here. So I have this one and then this one with a nice decimal. So here's my systems of equations that I'm going to solve. And I just, out of a habit, I usually solve for y. So I'll come over here. So x plus y equals 5. So if I subtract x from both sides, y is going to be 5 minus x. And then you always substitute that into the equation you haven't used yet. All right, so here we go. You ready? 0.15x plus 0.25. Instead of y, we're going to write 5 minus x, and that's going to equal 0.85. So now we have one equation, one unknown. So like always, we want to get rid of our parentheses. So we're going to distribute this to both of those terms inside the parentheses. So 0.15x plus 1.25 minus 0.25x equals 0.85. Alright, so if we combine like terms, here, I'll do it on here. So 0.15 minus 0.25, right? There's my x terms. So that'll give me negative 0.1x plus 1.25, and that's going to equal 0.85. Alright, I'm going to bring it over here because I'm running out of room. So negative 0.1x plus 1.25 equals 0.85. So let's get that x by itself and then we can divide. Alright, so these will cancel. 0.85 minus 1.25. Oop, can you see that? 0.85 minus 1.25 is equal to negative 0.4. So negative 0.1x equals negative 0.4. If you divide by your negative 0.1, you're going to get x is equal to 4. Alright, so we had 5 quarts altogether. So if 15%, 4 of them is a 15% solution, then the leftover, that's going to be the 1% solution. Alright, so I'll pop this up here. So we've got 4 quarts, that's going to be the 15% solution, and then 1 quart for the 25% solution. Now let's think about it. It does make sense, right? Because the 17 is much closer to the 15, so that makes sense that we're going to need more of those, and then just a smaller amount to bump it up to get it closer of that really powerful acidity. 25%. We'll just need one of those to bump that 15 up to the 17. Alright, so that we did with substitution. Let's do this one with elimination, okay, if that's what you like to do. So how many liters each of a 15% antifreeze solution and a 30% antifreeze solution are we going to mix together to make 6 liters of a 20% antifreeze? So I want 6 altogether. Alright, so let's let x equal the amount of the first type. So we're going to mix 15% and 30% of 15% antifreeze. Okay, and we're going to mix that with a solution that is 30% antifreeze. And we're going to stir them together. We're going to take a scoop of each and stir it together, and the total is going to be 6 liters. So when I add these together, I should get 6 liters. and I want, this is where people make the mistake, I want 6 liters that's 20% antifreeze. So I want 20% out of that 6 to be antifreeze. And then I want 15% of the amount I'm going to stir in from the X barrel, right? And then the Y, I'm going to scoop out a Y amount, that's going to be my Y barrel, and I want 30% of what I scoop out to be antifreeze. So let's get rid of the percentages. So that's going to be 0.15x. 30%, you drop the percent, shift that decimal 2 places to the left. And then let's go ahead and do that one on our calculators. We've got 20% times 6. If you don't have a percent key, then you would just put the 0.20 times 6. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to write them both down now. I'm going to have x plus y equals 6 and 0.15x plus 0.30y equals 1.2. And you, at this point, you can eliminate the x or the y. It doesn't matter. I'm going to eliminate the x. So I'm going to multiply everything I see by whatever's in front of that x, but the negative, right? Because I want the same number, but of opposite sign. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides of this equation by negative 0.15. So you get a negative 0.15, you get a negative 0.15, and you get a negative 0.15 in the front. So let's see what this will look like. We'll have negative 0.15x plus negative 0.15y equals, ready? 6 times negative 0.15. That's going to give us negative 0.9 on this side. And then we don't want to mess with that next one, right? We want to leave that just the way it is. Okay. So eliminate means add, and then one of those variable terms should eliminate. Alright, so we have negative 0.15. Let's see what happens when we add these y values together. So that gives us 0.15y, and then we'll have negative 0.9 plus 1.2. That gives us 0.3. Right? So then to solve, we're going to divide both sides by 0.15, divide by 0.15. So it looks like y is going to equal, here we go, 0.3 divided by 0.15. It looks like y is going to equal 2. Is that what you guys got in your calculator? Oh, I wish we were together so then I could see how you were doing. So it looks like y equals 2. Now remember, we wanted 6 quarts altogether, so if we have 2 from the one barrel, that looks like we're going to need 4 liters, sorry, not quarts, liters out of the next barrel. So let's write it down. So we need 4 liters of the 15% solution, and we need 2 liters of the 20% solution. Right, last one. Last one's a little tricky, so I thought we would just end it with this, and then hopefully this is enough. If not, call me, let me know, and we will do some more. On Monday, I'm going to I'm going to do a little video with these 4 problems on it. So on Monday, I'll have a little extra video with these guys on it. If you want to try those before Monday, then you can watch me work through them. Hopefully that will work out pretty well for you. All right, so last one. So we need 8 cups of a 15% solution, but we've only got a 20% alcohol solution. All right? So we're going to mix 20% of the alcohol solution and water to get 8 cups of a 15% solution. So we've got 2 things we're going to be mixing. You ready? Let's see. We're going to let X equal the amount of 20% alcohol solution. And then the rest we're going to add as water. Now I'm hoping that you know that water doesn't have any alcohol in it. So water is a 0% alcohol solution. So it's like we're diluting this so that it's 15%. That's basically what we're doing. So let's look at our totals equations. So we're going to have X amount of the 20%, and then we're going to add some water to it. And when we stir it together, we want 8 cups. Okay? And then let's look at our acidity. So we've got 20% of I keep saying acidity, of an alcohol solution. 20% of it's alcohol. And then water is 0% alcohol. And that's going to equal a 15% solution. That's 8 cups. Now this one should be pretty easy. Let's go ahead and convert those to decimals. So we've got 0.20, if you want, X, plus, well, 0 times Y is just 0. So plus 0 equals, we've got 15% then on the other side times 8. So 1.2. Now look, you don't have to do elimination or substitution. Look, the y, it was 0 times y, so it goes away. So to solve for x, we just have to divide by 0.2. So 1.2 divided by 0.2, it looks like x is 6. Look at that. So x is 6. So we need 6 cups. 6 cups of the 20% alcohol solution. But since we needed 8 cups altogether, that means how many cups of water are we going to need? 2. 2 cups of water. So if we stir those together, we're going to get 8 cups of a 15% solution. Oh, look at all that writing. We did so much work. Okay, so let me know if you have. Please get comfortable using the Zoom room. All right, a bunch of you are using it, but not everyone. So if you want to see me face to face and you want me to look at some work, you'll get nice answers for these. If you get something wonky with lots of decimals, say, Kathleen, can we do a Zoom room so you can see what I'm doing? And then all you have to do is hold up your paper to the camera and I'll be able to see it. I'll be able to see you. You'll be able to see me. And it's a very, very efficient way to get your questions answered rather than trying to figure them out through email. Okay? You do have an while that's open. It's due on Monday. So you can take pictures of it and send it to me through Remind, but you can only send one picture at a shot through Remind. Otherwise, take a picture of it and send it to me through email. And then I will post the key on Monday around 2 o'clock. So I won't accept anything after that. I know I said, I can't remember what time, but I usually post those in the afternoon, so give you a little bit of extra time to get those done. All right, take care. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a good weekend. We will talk to you on Monday.